changed everything for him. I mean, we don't know what he would have liked or not liked. We don't know, um, what kind of person he would have been at all. I mean, he's very sweet and precious, but he can't make simple decisions. I'm Jenny Wade, and this is Austin Wade. Austin was born totally typical, fine little guy, and at 5 weeks of age, he had a severe bleed on his brain. What it was is he had hemorrhagic disease of the newborn or vitamin K deficiency bleed. He didn't get a simple vitamin K shot at his birth, and it was not that we didn't do shots. Our kids have had shots. We just weren't given the correct information on the vitamin K and how important it is. Most kids, if you don't get it, are fine, but he happened to be the one in 10,000, and he had signs and symptoms, and I took him to the doctor, and nobody listened. Nobody connected the dots until and the day of, he was screaming his head off, and I took him in, and they said he had a virus, that he was bleeding in his brain. So it ended up so bad that his brain was pushed past the midline, and it created global massive damage. And they thought he had a 1% chance to live. He had brain surgery, and parts of his brain fell out, and so they took out his left bone flap here and did brain surgery, and they didn't think he'd make it, but he did. Yeah, you did, didn't you? Basically, they just say that here's PTOT and speech. And originally, they thought he only had damage in the occipital lobe, and they thought that he was going to have pretty minor deficits. But then his brain, it swelled really big, and then it went back down. And once it went down, they could see the true damage. And then they told me he was going to be mentally retarded. But they wouldn't tell me whether he'd ever sit up, or they didn't know. They said they just don't know. Just said you have to wait and see. A friend of mine, she took her daughter. She had some results, and she said the therapy was amazing, and it was very safe, and they had a great time. And then she wanted to go back again, and so when she was going back again, I just had to go. We went June, July of 2008. We were there for a month. He got 2 IVs and 4 spinals. They would work with him a lot, just with his whole body, and then they also did standing, and he had the therapy. He had e-stim. He had acupuncture. So he had a pretty busy day doing all that. Actually, he just started kindergarten, and I thought he would be home with me forever, but the last year and a half or so, he's much more aware, and he likes kids, and he likes noise and movement, and so he started school, and he's doing really good. He loves it. He has a nurse that goes with him on the bus and stays with him throughout his day, and he just loves it. I think over time, and I don't know that so many of them may not say, oh, it was directly related to China, but I think once we got his seizures better under control, he's just kind of opened up and blossomed, and I don't believe that he would have been that much without it. I mean, to me, just even that food thing. I mean, it was so immediate. I mean, before he took every single thing I gave him, he would just eat whatever I gave him, and I would take organic food and mix it with supplements and feed it to him, and he would take his medicines, no problem. And then, boom, within, I think it was like the second and a half, third week, he just all of a sudden started refusing baby food. He would eat big people food. He liked food, but he had a definite, I don't like that, and he had never done that, ever. So to me, that was a big, huge, I'm I am aware here. I have opinions. It worked out okay. He just ate a lot of regular food, and then when we got home, I mean, it's a good thing that his taste buds woke up, but we put in a feeding tube because of him refusing the meds and stuff. So it was kind of like, okay, we get this great thing, but then we had to get this. But actually, the feeding tube for us has been a real blessing because I can get all his supplements and his meds in there, and he can still eat by mouth, and I don't spend hours every day feeding him now. If he, so it's actually been a blessing in disguise. But I think that if he could get it like every 6 months, that would make. I mean, if we could do it here and get even 1 or 2 shots every month I just think of what amazing results he might have. To me, it was priceless. I mean, anything to help him. You can't put a, if I had tons of money, I'd who live over there. For him just to be more alive and aware, I mean, that's huge. I mean, it may not be much, you know, the average person looking at him, but from where he's been, I mean, every little, I mean, it's just huge. It means he's more a part of life instead of spacing out and not being as much of a person. You know, it's made him more of a person, I think.